please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, Subdates 230217.4. Meetings have been postponed yet again. I'm getting a little sick of this, so I've now made it a priority, a mandate, to detonate this place and simply steal everything. Oh, and a bunch of NPC fork crew. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with something that I had seen originally via Shaky Bird on Twitter. I thought it was a joke, and then about an hour later I noticed it trending on Twitter under the tag 200,000 Cadbury's cream eggs. Now I, as many will know, am quite partial to a cream egg. There is a correct way to eat it, and no, it is not to simply shove it in your mouth. No, your tongue gets a really good workout. Oh yes. I have grown quite fond, especially of the white chocolate ones. And in one sitting, I have eaten a stupidly high number of them. Not 200,000, but quite a lot in one sitting without realizing I'd eaten that many and I didn't feel sick afterwards, which is a damning statement of how sweet my tooth is. And before any of you say, oh, you must be fat then. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm Omegon, and I am a chocoholic. So, with 200,000 Cadbury cream eggs trending on Twitter, I'm sure many of you are wondering what on earth got 200,000 of those bastard things that give me a sugar coma doing trending on Twitter. Well, it's because, we get a Telford for this. This is glorious, by the way. A man stole 200,000 Cadbury's cream eggs. On the face of it, that is quite impressive. The larger boxes of cream eggs contain 48 eggs within them, which means he would have had to have stolen 4,167 boxes. I rounded that up because it was actually 4,166.6666666666666666666666666 if you notice it carries on for a while. 666666666666666. Should I keep going? So how does a man manage to steal that many cream eggs, that many boxes, that many pallets? Well, Joby Poole, who has been dubbed the Easter Bunny by the police, stole a lorry cab to make off with the chocolate after breaking into a Telford industrial unit with a meat grinder on Saturday. When this went to court, prosecutor Owen Beale told Kidderminster Magistrates Court, I don't know if you have seen the news recently, there was a load that was stolen and on the trailer was Cadbury's products, a large number of cream eggs. He said that Joby Poole, a self-employed ground worker, used a tractor unit that had been stolen in the Yorkshire area back in October to tow away the trailer full of chocolate, which was then driven away, eventually reaching the northbound M42. Poole was then spotted by the police and gave up at junction 11 and walked towards the police with his hands up. The load was then recovered, I'm sure after the pigs had their helping. This clearly wasn't spur-of-the-moment offending, if I can put it like that, because he had taken with him a tractor unit and he had to know that the load was there in the first place. He has previously been convicted for theft, handling stolen goods, and driving while disqualified back in 2019. The prosecutor also said that this is clearly an organised criminal matter. You don't just happen to learn about a trailer with that kind of value being available. You're right, fondant is in high demand these days. Also, tongue workouts, because some people really don't know how to use their tongue. This doesn't surprise me, considering half the crap people eat, especially when chocolate exists. Now, I'm sure we can all cringe at the inevitable dad jokes, and it's okay. West Mercia police described the incident as an extravagant theft of a chocolate collection box, along with saying shortly after the theft, a vehicle presumably purporting to be the Easter Bunny was stopped northbound on the M42. Ah, how cringe is that? Now, he has pled guilty to theft and criminal damage. Perfectly reasonable, and he will be likely sentenced in March. The value of those eggs, 200,000 Cadbury's cream eggs, are worth about 32 grand. About that. Cost of living going up, they'll undoubtedly go up in value soon anyway. 200,000 cream eggs though. That is... Well, quite yummy to be honest. I think he's a hero. Part of me had thought the reason he'd done it is because Cadbury's Cream Eggs do a competition, where if you find an egg that is, I think this year, split between white and milk chocolate, and you keep hold of it, you then call up some hotline or a website, and you win like $1,000. Considering the value of those eggs though, this is still not worth it. Especially as it is likely that Joby Poole is going to go to prison for about 2 years. Now imagine telling that to his fellow inmates when they make him keister stash cream eggs. Moving on from that, I'd like to talk about Amy Gallagher from Kent. Amy Gallagher is a Christian nurse who last year announced she was suing Tavistock. Tavistock is the only gender hormone trans clinic place in the UK. I think they're shutting down though, so it hasn't lasted very long, and the reason why they're shutting down is because more people have come forward saying, "You forced me to do this, I now regret this decision. I was not mature enough to make that adult decision." Back in October of 2022, Amy Gallagher had given interviews to a number of outlets, the week being one. At the time, she had said that the NHS is forcing racist ideology onto students by promoting critical race theory in its classes. She believes, like many, that you need to ban CRT in those classrooms. At that point, she was in the final stages of a 2-year course in forensic psychology. Her case against Tavistock was based on discrimination on the basis of race, religion, and philosophical belief. She highly objected to the lecture then titled "Whiteness, a Problem of Our Time." That was in October of 2020, where attendees were forced to confront the reality of white privilege. Along with, in another race lecture, she had to endure one that was titled "Christianity is Racist Because It is European." Skipping ahead because you need this brief history lesson, she was suspended from her NHS course by those dubbed woke health chiefs after she said being white doesn't make you racist. At this point, she was still training to be a psychotherapist at the Portman Clinic, which is part of the Tavistock Portman NHS Trust. In an interview with the Mail Online, she revealed how NHS bosses caused her crippling anxiety after she challenged their racist and offensive views in lectures that she was forced to attend. When Amy challenged these views, she was bullied by staff and suspended from the course pending an investigation into whether she is safe to work with patients. Almost a year later, no investigation has taken place. This in turn means she has been left in limbo for over a year, and her psychotherapist dream is hanging by a thread. A course lecturer also tried to get her banned from her day job as a practicing mental health nurse. This case almost sets a precedent, because it could well be one of the very first trials of wokeness, as it has been dubbed in the article, not myself. However, this is not the first time Tavistock Trust has faced scrutiny. I mentioned people changing their minds. Well, Kira Bell, at the age of 16, took puberty blockers. She later on claimed at the age of 23, she felt like she was being treated like a guinea pig. She was injected with testosterone at 17, had a mastectomy at 20, before detransitioning. She believes the doctors did not carry out a proper psychiatric assessment and should have challenged her more over her decision to transition to a male. After a major High Court battle, judges ended up ruling that children under 16 are unlikely to be able to give informed consent. There are many in this country who are seeking to make it easier for people to transition. Incidents like this, increasing, are reasons why the word no is applicable to that. In the case of Amy Gallagher though, she's been quoted as saying, "I never attacked anyone. I just said we need to have a different viewpoint. To be made to feel like I have done something awful, it's been really difficult. There's nothing wrong with what I have said. I want justice for what's been done to me. It's had on my mental health. I had anxiety, it's been really hard. I on this channel have always supported meritocracy because I truly believe talent shines forward, hard work pays off. That's what I believe. Granted, the majority of the world doesn't operate like that, and in critical race theory, it rejects that kind of belief, along with the idea of colour blindness in terms of race, and says that racism is systemic and socially constructed. These areas get really murky because somebody has managed to create such a problem that no one can find the words to articulate a way out of it. And I would want to find a solution to it, but there is no real solution to it. And in before some idiot says, but reparations, tear down the structures of power. Go ahead, I ask you to do it now, please. You might find that reparations are redundant when the socialist utopia that will take its place render currency of no use because there'll be one person with all the currency controlling your life. And I know this might annoy people, but I do not support critical race theory being taught in schools. I really don't. That is not how you achieve equality in academia. I really believe that. I've lost a lot of subs recently, so I may as well keep going, see how we get on. Before we get to our final subject, I want to throw in an honourable mention that isn't so much stupid as it is something I really wanted to highlight as a demonstration of how someone can actually accomplish something when they actually try, when they get the help and they accept the help. For this, we insert the £1,000 sisters, Tammy Slatton and her sister Amy. Tammy, for the longest time, has rejected all help. She, for the longest time, made it a point to fight back against everything that would make her life better, to the point she relied on oxygen. She was checked into a food rehab centre after struggling with her weight for years. Last year, rushed to hospital because she was struggling with breathing. Simply put, her body was shutting down, something her sister Amy confessed. Because of that, Tammy had to be given a trach. Tammy, though, continued with her weight loss journey. She actually managed to make inroads. She went from 717 pounds when she first started rehab down to her goal weight of 550, which is the weight required for bariatric surgery. Much like with Amy, who had gone on to do some great things, I genuinely hope with Tammy she continues down this path. It's going to be difficult, even with the surgery, but I genuinely hope for the best for you. You two were at one point content constable candidates, but I decided it wasn't worth it because Amy had turned her life around. I didn't want to make it into a let's just talk about that scam you did a few years back and the fact that Tammy was the most argumentative cowbag on the planet. To finish, let's talk about whiskey. As many of you all know, I am quite the fan. I would say connoisseur, but I'm nowhere near snobbish enough, even though I recently did buy a Glencairn pipette for whiskey. I'm okay with this. This snobbery is a fun aspect of a hobby. That's what I consider it. Recently I noticed on my phone a news app thing, Google, popped, and it had titled SNP's Hypocritical Whiskey Branding, and it piqued my interest. The SNP have had a number of issues of late. More notably, Jimmy Krankie has resigned as First Minister. What a shame. The whole trans row has gotten a bit much, although I do believe it's because, for we Jimmy Krankie especially, because she's not able to give Scotland the independence it's been pushing for many years. I feel it's inevitable, but I don't believe we Jimmy Krankie is the one capable of giving Scotland that. I'm sure there are other reasons really, but who really cares at this point? Let's focus on the whiskey problem. The SNP is engulfed in a hypocrisy row after they sell branded spirits after ministers consider a clampdown on alcohol advertising. Bottles of whiskey, gin and vodka emblazoned with a Yes logo are on sale through the party's website. These in turn cost between £32.99 and £44.99. Other branded alcohol-related products include a whiskey glass and a hip flask. What the ministers are currently doing is consulting on plans to put alcoholic beverages on a similar footing to cigarettes, by reducing the visibility of products and prohibiting the sale or distribution of alcohol-branded merchandise, which includes t-shirts, jackets and baseball caps, as well as branded glasses and mugs. Scotland, for years, has become a nanny state. No offence to Scotland or its Scottish people, but this is the party, essentially a one-party system, dictating this nanny party bollocks. When I went to my sister's wedding in 2021 up in Orcan Castle, so barely Scotland, the Scottish guy who was serving me had to concede that while he wants Scottish independence, he really doesn't want the nanny state to continue, because this nanny state overbearing aspect of the government is pushing down very important parts of who you are, trying to bury a key aspect of your country's economy. Whiskey, by the way, is a huge part of it, and treating it on par with that of cigarettes, which is nonsensical. Not everyone is Ramsay Nesbitt, you know. One of the main criticisms is that in the consultation document, it insists that once branding is removed, alcohol products in each beverage subsector are essentially variations of the same thing, with one whiskey consultant saying that the SNP could be forced to stop selling its own branded content if the more extreme version of the advertising proposals are adopted. Branding it is hypocritical if they are saying all alcohol is the same and they don't want to advertise any alcohol. There was a real hypocrisy in the week of Burns Night, as they were all saying don't forget to have a whiskey while at the same time consulting on plans that will put our national drink into the corner and under the counter. Don't you ever put whiskey in the corner, ever. No one puts whiskey in the corner. Whiskey is love. Whiskey is life.